Hi, my name is Greg May. Welcome to TSTM's first webinar. We're going to roll right on through some topics here, and if you have any questions, you're welcome to use the webinar system to submit your questions or to submit them by email, and we'll get to them a little bit later in the presentation. The reason I started TSTM about 15 years ago was as a result of an accident involving 480 volt metering in Nebraska. And what happened was a couple of linemen were out doing routine meter changes, removing those old disc type meters and installing solid state meters. And in the process of changing out the meters, they, of course in Nebraska you're required to disconnect the service before you remove a meter. And so they removed the high voltage from the transformers using single phase disconnects. And when they pull the old meter out and install the new meter, they begin to close in the high voltage disconnects. And when they, in the process of closing them in, the meter exploded like a bomb and almost killed both of them. Luckily, no one was injured, but it was a close call. Why is it important to get 480 volts out of the meter? 480 volts has a nasty habit of causing ionization of the air inside of an enclosed piece of equipment like a meter, and if an arc gets started in there as a result of a component failure or some other cause, the air becomes a conductor, and the expanding gases as a result of an arc that's established causes the meter to explode or to be ejected from the socket almost like a missile. And it's very easy for someone in the area to get hurt or killed. And if you take the 480 volts down to a lower voltage like 120 or 240 volts, and at the same time reduce the fault current availability, you can make a metering installation much safer and more reliable. The same thing that creates the increase in safety also increases the reliability of the installation because it's not as volatile under conditions of like a transient caused by lightning or switching or any other cause. And of course, everyone nowadays is interested in safety, and by removing the 480 volts from the meter, you make it inherently much safer. And the cost savings is that you don't have the failures of the meter due to lightning and other transients that come along as you otherwise would. And how the VT pack helps do that is the VT pack has either 1, 2, or 3 toroidal auto transformers enclosed in a polycarbonate case. And the toroidal design allows it to pass power line carrier signal like TWACS or the Hunt system, Hunt Landison gear system, used to be called the Turtle, much better than traditional voltage transformers. And the accuracy, of course, the VT pack is ANSI rated to be metering accurate. And one of the stories that I have is a customer had a lot of problems with failure of metering, and that would be Colorado Springs, Colorado. It's a municipal utility, and they were experiencing a significant number of meter failures, probably as a result of lightning. They were told by their engineers that this was caused by the ionization problems at high altitude, and it was just something they basically had to live with. They hired a consultant that came in and did a study to find out what they could do about these failures, because they were losing 10 to 15 meter installations on a single lightning storm that would come through. And the resultant failure of equipment and the billing errors became almost intolerable to them. And so in the process of hiring this consultant, the consultant issued a report at the end of their study and determined that they needed to use voltage transformers. And luckily for me, a couple of guys that just worked in the meter department, came to work in the metering department at Colorado Springs, just came from one of our longtime customers in Louisiana. And they recommended that they use the VT pack instead of traditional voltage transformers for their meter installations. And I got a call from the chief electrical engineer for the city of Colorado Springs, and of course he was skeptical of the claims that he'd heard about the VT pack and wanted more information as to how warranty claims were handled. And we spent most of the morning talking about how many VT packs had to fail before they filed a warranty claim. Did they need RMA numbers? All of these things. Who paid the freight when they were sent back for a warranty claim? Who paid the freight for the new VT pack to replace it? And after a while, I kind of lost my patience with the whole conversation and told him that if he installed the VT pack properly and wired it with single point grounding, he would not have failures. And to say the least, he wasn't exactly convinced by my argument, and but decided to give him a try, and still wanting the information about the warranty in writing, and I said that's fine. And this has been about approximately 6 years ago they began to use the VT pack, and to date I believe they've got around 2,000 VT packs installed with 0 failures. They have not had any failures of the VT pack for any reason. And a couple of years ago they actually agreed to do a testimonial, and the testimonial is actually on our website. At the time they didn't have nearly as many VT packs in service as they do now, but they decided, since it was so effective in reducing and eliminating, basically eliminating their meter failures, I believe they've gone back and retrofit the entire municipal system. Now we'll talk a little bit about why the VT pack is so effective when used with AMR systems, particularly AMR systems that involve power line carrier technology. Some examples of those are the TWAC system by Aclara, the Hunt system, the Hunt Landison gear system, previously called the Turtle, and also the Canon system, which is another power line carrier system. Because of the toroidal auto transformer nature of the VT pack, of the transformers in the VT pack, the power line carrier signal is propagated through the VT pack instead of, like traditional voltage transformers tend to attenuate or block the signal. And the VT pack does a much, much better job of passing that signal. Back many years ago when the Turtle first came out, or was first in the development process, I worked closely with Paul Hunt of Hunt Technologies way back at the very beginning in Pequot Lakes, Minnesota. And I advised him very strongly that he should not use a 480 volt endpoint or 480 volt Turtle. And he agreed to do so, but then he let his marketing people talk him into it, and they created a 480 volt Turtle that went inside an electric meter. And unfortunately, the endpoint failed and clouded the inside of the meter with smoke. No one got hurt, but it was a potentially dangerous accident, and Paul Hunt asked me to comment on it, and I mentioned to him that if this would have been a self-contained meter instead of a transformer-rated meter, because when the endpoint failed, it actually blew the wires off in the meter socket because they were small conductors like number 12 or number 14 wire. And I said if this would have been a self-contained meter using large conductors from a large source, the glass cover on the meter would have acted like shrapnel, almost like a hand grenade, and probably would have seriously injured or killed the individual installing the meter. And it was at that time that Paul Hunt said, as long as I'm the president or have anything to do with Hunt Technologies, there will never be a 480 volt Turtle. And to this day, there never has been. Right now, we're going to have a short video, a snippet from a gentleman down in Georgia actually at Snapping Shoals Electric Cooperative, who has been using the VT pack on their TWAC system for quite a few years with great success. And Ken Waddleton, who is the guy in charge of metering there, actually called and wanted to do a testimonial. And so we made arrangements to have a film crew go out and do the video of him doing his testimonial. And he talks, as you can see in the video, talked about how well the VT pack works and how easy it is to install and how well it passes their power line carrier signal, the TWAC signal.
My name is Ken Waddleton. I've been with Snapping Shoals EMC for approximately 35 years. I've been in the metering department a little over 12 years. The VT pack is really the simplest voltage transformer I've ever seen. I was attracted to it because of it confined in the meter can. No drilling in the transformer. It's not in the way of the conductors for the line crew. If you're working in a 75 kVA pad mount, 277, 480, the space is not there to mount 3 individual VTs. We have to get them in there to reduce that voltage, and we have done it, but you're looking at an additional 2 hours of labor wiring and mounting those VTs, and then they're going to be in the way of the conductors when the line crew personnel get there to run the conductors in the transformer. So the VT pack being mounted inside the can, it's just, all around is a great product. As you see the inside, we would have had to have mounted 3 of the old style VTs in here somewhere. With the VT pack, it mounts, it's self-contained, it mounts inside of the meter can. The self-contained VT pack comes pre-wired. You take the plug it into the VT pack. After you wire your potentials, it's done. You save 2 hours of time and labor. We reduce the voltage for the safety reasons is the first reason. I don't want to have 277 volts coming in on a test switch. We reduce it down to 122 at the test switch. Our line crew personnel, anybody can actually go into the can to check voltage and to see what the voltage is in the transformer also. They don't have to open the transformer. They can go right there to the test switch and get the voltage coming out of the transformer through the use of the VT pack. The individual VTs has to have a volt amp rating of 500 to read through twice. The VT pack obviously has a volt amp rating of 150. And that was a concern for many people, but being confined in a self-contained unit, the VT pack works great with twice. We've had no failures whatsoever. If we have an issue out on a site, it was the meter itself. It had nothing to do with the VT pack. Drilling the can probably takes 15 minutes, and VT pack to mount in the can takes about 4 minutes. As far as reading, as far as losing one due to lightning or anything else, I have not lost one yet. The price being very comparable to the individual VTs and the can that they use, the prices, they're right there together. So you're saving, again, the savings on the labor, the savings on the money to purchase. Again, to me, it wasn't even anything I had to give a second thought.
Way back at the beginning of my company, I made a call on Pecanalis Electric Cooperative in Johnson City, Texas. Pecanalis is the largest electric cooperative in the United States, and they're also 100% TWACs, or virtually 100% TWACs. And they were having significant trouble passing their TWAC signal through their conventional VTs. And at the time, the TWACs company wanted them to get rid of their voltage transformers to facilitate the power line carrier signal. And Pecanalis advised the DCSI people at the time that they had no intention of getting rid of their voltage transformers because of reasons of safety. And when I came in, they started asking me questions about the design and the operation of the VT pack and what kind of transformers we had and so forth, which I thought was kind of strange because no one really cared at the time what kind of transformers we had except these folks. And when I asked, they said the guy in charge was a transformer design engineer, and he thought because of the design of the VT pack that it possibly would pass the power line carrier signal. And he advised that if that was the case, that could be a very good day for 2 sockets, 2 meters. And they tried a couple and it worked, and right now they've got about 6,000 VT packs in service on TWACs, and they all work. So it's a great story for us. We also have an unheard of warranty of 10 years on the VT pack. Back when early on in the company's history, I made a call on Carolina Power and Light over on the East Coast, and they were very interested in the VT pack because of its ease of installation and wiring and so forth. But they had some real concerns about the reliability under conditions of lightning, particularly when they couldn't get good grounds, because they've got a sand hills area that has notorious for not being able to get a ground, and they were losing approximately 40 voltage transformers, conventional voltage transformers a year in the Sandhills area. And they mentioned that it's bad enough to lose 40 VTs, but if they had VT packs in these installations and experienced similar failure rates, that would be 40 VT packs instead of just 40 conventional transformers. And they didn't feel they could stand the cost of losing that many VT packs. And so they wanted to know what I could do to address their concerns, and I gulped and said, well, what if I offered you some kind of a warranty? And they said, well, what are you willing to do? And I said, just off the top of my head, said, what about 5 years? And he says, you mean 5 years including lightning damage? And I said, yes. And they said, if you will put that in writing, if you will give us a 5-year warranty that includes lightning, we will buy the VT pack. And they have ever since. They've been a good customer. And they have never lost a VT pack, and which we think is a pretty good testament to our construction and design. And we have since, because of our experience, extended the warranty from 5 years to 10 years, and it's worked out very, very well. Back a few years ago, I was approached by American Electric Power, or some people call it AEP, to design a VT pack for them. They wanted some special ratio. They wanted a 2.4 to 1 for their 480 277 volt 4-wire Y instead of our traditional 2.5 to 1. And of course, as large as American Electric Power is, I was more than happy to accommodate them. They worked with a meter company originally on the design of a wide voltage range meter for forms consolidation. And one of the things that it allowed them to do was to use that meter on any application from 120 volts all the way through 480 volts. And they made a determination at that time that since the meter could now handle 480 volts, that they no longer needed voltage transformers. So they made a corporate decision to get rid of voltage transformers. And they have since made a decision that that wasn't the best idea. And therefore they approached me to come up with a new VT pack design for them with a different ratio and some other features. And they have since been a very good customer of TSTM, now having installed approximately 6,000 VT packs. And to date they have experienced no failures. And it was because of for reasons primarily of safety. And in fact, one of their divisions, they actually went back and retrofit over 1,000 applications, 480 volt applications that did not have voltage transformers with the VT pack. And one of the reasons for them to make that decision was because of the fact that it was so easy to install compared to traditional voltage transformers. It required a significantly larger amount of wiring and time and mounting and so forth. So that's the reason they wanted to go with the VT pack. The installation of the VT pack is extremely quick. Take a look at this short snippet that we have.
Across the nation, metering is migrating from dangerous 480-volt direct connections to the industry-leading TSTM VT pack voltage transformer meter configuration for its safety, reliability, flexibility, and cost-saving ease of installation. The installation of traditional transformer configurations involves up to 3 heavy, bulky, non-toroidal transformers, up to 21 connections, and the drilling of numerous holes in expensive, heavy-gauge steel cabinetry. Installing a VT pack is much quicker and easier and requires a minimal tool set. First, install current transformers, or CTs, on the transformer's main bushings. Hold the VT pack where it will be located inside the transformer housing, and make a mark where you intend to drill one hole. Drill the hole and bolt the VT pack inside the transformer housing. In connecting the wiring harness, there will be a maximum of only 4 connections inside the transformer cabinet, and a maximum of 4 connections inside the socket cabinet. After connecting the harness within the cabinet, feed the other wires into the socket cabinet through the bushing and properly connect the wires. Plug the wiring harness into the VT pack and then plug in the meter. You're done.
A list of some of the accessories that go along with the VT pack are meter adapters, hockey pucks, which are auxiliary power transformers, VT pucks, which are metering accuracy hockey pucks, you might say, just a little bit larger. We have custom meter sockets that can be made to your configuration with custom test switches, custom color coding, and so forth. We have wiring harnesses that can be made to any length, any color coding, including stripes. Have external mounting kits to mount the VT pack in the exterior of meter sockets. And we have a terminal strip that allows you to either extend the primary or the secondary of the VT pack harness so that it can be, you can mount the VT pack a significant distance from the meter socket that you're going to use. We'll go over some of these accessories in a future webinar, and please ask if you have any other products that you'd like us to talk about.